Hello, everyone, and welcome to Co-Creation Station, the podcast where we talk about the law of attraction, the art of allowing, spiritual magic, the mind-body-spirit connection, and how to best enjoy this mystical, miraculous, mysterious, crazy, sometimes confounding, but always incredible journey we call life. My name is Collin, but today you can call me Mr. Chili McChillerson, and I am located in beautiful, sunny, and very chill North Hollywood, California.
You starting the intro, and I'm like, I look down and I'm like, he put his name as at the journey. Oh, that is hilarious. Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie Orlina. I am a transformational life coach, and I help you shift away from negative thinking. And I'm in San Diego, California.
We want to thank you so much for chilling with us today on this episode, and we just want to let you know at the top that we often mention the names Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks. If you're not familiar with those names, Esther Hicks is a speaker and author who channels someone called Abraham. Abraham is described as a group of entities from beyond our physical world who share their wisdom by speaking through Esther at workshops and speaking opportunities around the world. You can find out more about them by searching for them on the web or YouTube here. Or you can search for them, or you can go to their website at abraham-hicks.com. Each week we start our discussion from a different jumping off point. I did want to briefly mention that this is episode 22 of season 6. This is the final episode of season 6. So we, as always, want to give a special shout out and thanks to all of you who watch us, listen to us, comment on the YouTube videos, send us emails. We love you. Thank you so much.
Yay us. Thank you.
Yes,
We could not do this without you. So
every time we finish a season, I'm like, it's
yay
season
us.
what? We finished. Oh my Lord.
Yay us. All of us.
Behind the scenes, we will be taking a break, but you will not experience a break. So we will still have another episode for you. Season 7.
Got our shit together.
Sorta.
Yeah, perfectly imperfect. I know, I'll drop the ball somewhere now. I'm like,
but season 7, episode 1 will be on your various alert systems next month. Yeah. So the and I wanted to briefly explain the Mr. Chili McChillerson thing was I don't want to leave the audience out. Stephanie had to, for personal reasons, had to be slightly tardy to our friend time before we started recording this morning, and I was just joking with you and sending you I sent you 17 texts saying how chill I was and I was waiting. In hindsight, that's more funny to me than it might be to anybody else. But anyway, carried over into the pod. But the topic that I wanted to talk about, Stephanie, is something, because in friend time just now, you just got back from a trip, and you had a lot of really amazing experiences. You allowed in a lot of really cool stuff on that trip. But the thing that jumped out at me was when you were talking about it was because you had done this, I think, really cool thing, an adventurous thing that not a lot of people do, which is you took a flight from California to the East Coast one way, and you didn't have a ticket home at the time. No. So you were going to allow yourself to drive. You had several days dedicated to this, and you were going to drive to various states, but you didn't have a firm idea of how many states you were going to go to, how far. And then when the time was up, you were just going to get a one-way ticket home,
right?
Which a lot of us travelers know it can be very expensive.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can get some sort of last minute deal, but it's very kind of
hit and miss.
Sketchy, yeah, hit or miss. But I think I would just let you tell that story again for the audience, because I think it introduces the topic that I want to talk about well.
Thank you. And I just want to give a shout out to myself, because I just turned 59 last month in September, and I've never done that before. I've traveled quite a lot in my life, and I've never booked a flight one way and not had a return flight. Most of my flights have always been, return flights, bookings. So I booked my flight out to Philly. And then I just figured, wherever I landed, I would, get a ticket. And, a couple days into my trip, I started looking for for airfare back, because thinking, okay, well, if I, come out of like, if I land in Georgia, land in South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, and the price was like 509. I think that was like the average price, and it went upwards. Or it was 440, but it was like 15 hours. Like it was insane. And so one night I stayed in North Carolina, and I check out of the hotel, and I Yelp, you know, restaurants near me, and there was one like right next door. And so I went, I was hungry, and I I walk in, really nice restaurant, and I'm like, "Ooh, this is gonna be expensive." And the people in front of me are like, it's a half hour wait, I hear. And I'm like, yeah, I'm starving. I'm not waiting half hour. And they ask, can we set the bar? And I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna do. And I come up next, and I'm like, just gonna sit at the bar. I'm not waiting 30 minutes. And so I walk into the bar, and the bar is like pretty full. The and there's a bar stool right there as I walk in, and I asked the lady sitting next to it, I was like, is this taken? She goes, oh no. And the woman next to her goes, no, no, help yourself. And so I sit down and get comfortable, and they immediately start talking to me. Long story short, they're from California. There's the two, they're older, just a little bit older than me. And the couple they're all from Corona, California. And the couple are visiting her. She just moved to North Carolina, the woman sitting next to me. And we just start chatting, and it's really wonderful. And the wife of the couple is like super friendly, like very happy. And so I tell them my trip, and they're like, oh my God, that's amazing. Kind of what we're doing, but the reverse. We started in Tennessee, and we're visiting friends along the way in different states. And I go, yeah, I've been looking at airfare, and it's just like insane. I, booked my flight out, but I don't know where I'm going to land. She goes, oh, you just keep trying. She goes, you're going to get a great price. And I'm like thinking, okay. And, but I loved her enthusiasm. She was so positive. And I'm like thinking, yeah, I'm going to hang on to that. Right. And so, we say goodbye, and they were so sweet. They paid for my brunch. I went to go pay, and the bartender's like, they took care of your tab. I'm like, and we took pictures together before they left, and luckily I'm like, text it to me. So I had her phone number, so I thanked her profusely. And so that night I started looking again, but with this different mindset, because I kept thinking her name was Jamma, and I'm like, okay. And I'm looking, and I come across cheap flights, and then what pulls up with cheap flights, it's Priceline. I haven't used Priceline in forever. And so I look on Priceline, and I pick the parameters. I'm like, and I've said this before, I like to know. And it didn't, you don't know with the Priceline what you're gonna get. And the price was great. And I'm like, oh, but the parameters, I'm like, okay, I can live with these parameters. All right, let's see what I get. And I push click, and the price was $240, because it was like 509 average, 6 whatever. And then I it pulls up, and it was perfect. It was perfect. It was like 7.5 hours, I think, which was like about the same amount I flew out in. And the time was great. It was like so awesome. And I just thought, I almost texted Jamma like, thank you so much. But her having the faith and the belief, you're going to find something, keep looking, was enough of a big ass raindrop to just sit in front of me, this nice little pool of belief, that I grabbed onto it, and I was shocked as F. That was a better flight price and a better flight, because I had an hour for my next flight versus like half hour with Delta. But anyways, yeah, blew my mind, 240, and it was an awesome flight. So the power of belief, right? And hope and inspiration.
Well, all of that, yes, and it's an amazing story, and I'm so
Excuse
glad you
me.
shared it with me and with our audience. Because for me, what jumps out is what popped the words that popped in my head when you were telling the story, and especially when that one when you portrayed her saying like, you're gonna find a cheaper flight, just keep looking, was confidence, like how
Confidence.
confidently she said that,
Yes.
and also demonstrating like how we talk is so important to the art of allowing.
Yep.
That's what been my experience, because, and it seems like initially when I started learning about it, it's like, well, what does it matter? You know, because we're talking about, oh, it's about vibration, it's about putting stuff in your vortex and like getting your vibration in a good place so you allow stuff. Like, what does that have to do with how we talk? Like, who cares? You know, it's just words. But what I found about myself, and I also feel like I observe it in others, but I know it better about myself, is that like I think and believe in language, in the way that I talk, you know?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
a lot of times when I say things, that comes directly out of my beliefs. It comes directly out of what my recorded tapes of how the world works, you know, that I learned when I was young, view the world, you know. And it's like sometimes it's so fast, you know. And what I learned, partly from your coaching, partly from listening to Abraham's workshops, is that, you know, I really need to practice, consciously practice. And this is actually one of the number one reasons that I became a client of your life coaching, is because I became acutely aware that one of my biggest hurdles in practicing the art of allowing better on a more consistent basis was that my brain really liked talking negatively. My brain really enjoyed talking me into a negative vibration when I talk to other people about my life, my hopes, my dreams, my frustrations, whatever. I just had this habit of which again, not to throw my family and the region I grew up in under the bus for the millionth time, but I mean, I learned that from the people that were around me, the adults that were around me when I was a kid, of like, my brain really enjoys the familiarity of talking about how bad, or, you know, how bad a situation is, or how frustrating a situation is, or something like that. And I can feel my vibration as I talk about, you know, my finances or my love life, or, you know, the times in my life when I've been looking for an apartment. If somebody asks me, how is your housing search going? I can tell now from how I'm talking about it that, like, do I have a vibration that's going on that's like confidently,
And
like,
how can you tell?
it's how I feel. It's
Yeah,
how I feel.
exactly.
But
Yep.
and we've talked about this part before, is like, it's sort of, I think that the challenging thing for me in that is separating out, like, oh, but I kind of feel not good, but I feel jazzed, you know? Like if somebody asks me like about my finances and things aren't going well that week or whatever,
Yeah,
and I go, oh man, you're not going to believe what happened to me this week. It's such a bummer, blah, blah, blah.
yeah, yeah,
Like I feel jazzed, you know,
yeah,
in some
yeah.
weird way, but I don't feel good. I don't
Right.
feel happy. I don't feel abundant. I don't feel prosperous.
Well, and then and if they respond, if we get a response from them that feels good, then it feeds into it, and then it
Yeah.
becomes this dynamics. And
Again,
I
and I
think
don't,
that's what happens too.
it's not, I wouldn't characterize it as feeling good, but like
No, not
I
at
can get
all.
somebody else jazzed negatively, and now we're both in this like, oh, I can one up
We're
you on my negative jazzing.
Yeah, we're juicing each other. We're
Yeah,
getting pumped off each other, but it's not feeding. It's not
right,
feeding either one of us in a good way. Yeah,
right.
yeah,
It's getting our vibration more in a negative direction. It's strengthening the negative vibration,
yeah, yeah.
which now I know that means that I am postponing good things that I want in my life from coming into my life, and I'm putting stuff I don't want in my vortex. If I'm
Yeah, yeah.
complaining about a bad financial situation, that, you know,
Well, and
as
I'm
you always tell me, the universe doesn't care. It's just attracting like attracts like. So
yeah,
if my vibration is bad financial situations, it's just like, oh, okay, that's what
and
we're going
I'm
to vortex for the future.
and when I'm doing that, I'm blocking the
Yeah,
good that is there, and
yeah,
I'm blocking the good that I want. It's just slowing it down. It's not
yeah.
preventing it from ever happening unless I continue to do that until the day I take my last breath. Then it
But
won't.
what was great about that story for me with that woman that you talked to is that the opposite can also absolutely happen, which is
No.
your vibration was a
Thank
little
you, Jamma.
your vibration was a little off in the
A
sense that
lot. It
you'd
was a
you'd
lot.
you'd seen, you know, what my
Yeah,
sister
I
Kelly, the
saw
chiropractor, calls appearance bullshit.
yeah,
$500, six
I
hundred
saw
dollars,
physical evidence on my
and
phone.
it's very normal and natural. We do this all the time. We see that data, the appearance bullshit, and we go, "Oh, that's all that's there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be stuck in this negative situation." But
yeah.
what that woman did, Gemma, sorry, I'll call her by name. Um, she said the truth, the possibility, the truth of that possibility with confidence, and that was enough to
Mic
flip.
drop, boom.
Yeah, and then you flipped around your she helped you flip your
She
vibration
helped
around.
me. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, she really
like you wouldn't
did.
have been able to flip if you didn't know what but she was able to, by saying that. I mean, because it happened for me when you told the story. Like
Mm.
as you were telling the story, it's like, oh yeah, the flights are expensive, and my brain's like, yeah, flights are expensive. One way
Yeah,
flights are
yeah,
just expensive.
right?
And
Yeah,
then when you portrayed her saying, you'll find one,
I know it.
that I could hear in
I'm
my
like,
brain, like, yeah, you will. Yeah,
ooh, oh, I
absolutely
just
will.
got chills up my thighs the way you said that. And that's what that was. I love though you said it so well, her confidence.
Yeah,
And I will add to that her belief.
yeah,
Her
yeah.
confidence and her
They kind
belief.
of go hand in hand.
Because I remember, I think it was prior to that conversation, just she was just so bubbly and alive and friendly, and it was just super attractive. And then and she said to me, she goes, what do you do? And I go, oh, I help people shift away from negative thinking. I go, I'm a life coach. And she goes, oh, that's great. She goes, oh my God. She goes, that's great work. Wonderful. And then I said, I go, does this naturally come to you? Your positive, personality. And she goes, yeah. She goes, I have a very strong faith.
Mm.
And that really, I just did she say like I expect, for good things to happen, something to that
Yeah,
effect. It was profound. Like
yeah,
I loved it. And she was just so happy and genuine. It was, as I said, attractive. And so I go, yeah, I go, some people are just naturally, like that. I go, but most people not. And then the woman next to me, I think it was her name was Cheryl, she said, she kind of after a bit, she leans to me and she goes, yeah, I'm one of those people who are negative. Like I really struggle with, negativity. And I go, yeah. And she goes, but I heard this thing called ants. And I go, ants? And I go, what's that? And she goes, yeah, ants, automatic negative thoughts. And I go, oh, I go, sure, I'm going to use that. That is so good. And then she started talking about that, and she was super sweet as well. All three of them were just lovely. And yeah, really, I left and I was just like, cool, thank you. That was a
yeah.
wonderful
Because
experience.
I think so many of us, myself definitely included, find it so easy to be confident about negative statements and beliefs. And we've talked about this before.
And what the people like, why? Like, and I did it too. Like I have done that with things, and now the things are shifting. Something happened the other day. It was yesterday. And I'd gone to the drugstore, and I was walking with Nibbles afterwards, and I was like, Steph, what if we just believed? What do I have to lose? What do
Yeah,
I have to lose if I just believe in fill in the blank? Uh, and I was thinking of something specific. I'm like, what do I have to lose? And I'm like, nothing. I go, feels good right now, just believing it's going to happen. And it just was like, it blew my mind. And so I'm just like, yeah, I'm just, okay, I keep reminding me, what do I have to lose in believing? I have nothing to lose, and it
I
feels
think
good
what a
right
lot of
now.
people, for me, the the mental programming is the central issue. Like it doesn't make any sense. I'm not conscious a lot of times, when I say something. Well, of course this negative situation happened. Like that's not me consciously going, oh, how do I feel about this? I'm going to talk about it negatively. It's an automatic response from my earlier programming. But I think like it's interesting that you asked that question, because I think some people would respond, if they were going to be super honest, is that they've been disappointed in the past at some point, or wanting something, or actually even having something that they really wanted, and either not getting the thing they wanted or losing the thing that they liked that they had. And I think sometimes the negative thinking and beliefs get reinforced as a way of like some sort of cockamamie defense against disappointment. You know, like, well, if I just say like, well, things never work out, well, then you're not going to be, theoretically, you're not going to be as hurt if something doesn't work out, you know? But
but I'm
that
still
just signs
hurt.
you up for a life of
Yeah,
actual
right?
disappointment.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's a
And
sort of circular logic that doesn't work. It's
and
like,
it's this protective mechanism, and I get
yeah,
it because I do it. I've done
I
it,
did
and
too.
I it's so automatic. I'm not even conscious of it.
Yeah.
However, it just came to me. I'm super thankful for an inner being just kind of giving me that download of like, you know what? Like, and for today, that's, where I'm at. But and and so I had this conversation with a friend the other day. She said, "Oh, is your beautiful sister?" She called me yesterday because I had reached out to her during the week. And so she called me, and we were chatting, and she asked me something, and she goes, "So how's da da da?" And I go, "Okay." And I didn't say another word. I didn't say another word. And that was a miracle. And because I could have went on to, say more about it, which would have been so talking about what I don't want. And I remember, and then we just proceeded to have this amazing conversations like we always do. And I got off the phone and I was like, wow, Steph, that was impressive. And all you said was okay, and then moved on to another subject.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was super powerful, girl. Like, congratulations. Like,
Well, that's what you were so good at with me when I was your coaching client. And honestly, you know, if I had to hone in on one thing, that was the thing that was so helpful, that I so needed, that so helped me grow out of my old beliefs and patterns, which is because you would ask me, you know, pretty close to the start of our sessions, how was your week? And at first I would start just riffing off whatever the heck happened that week. And the first thing that would always jump to my mind, no matter what the actual topic or event was, I would start talking negatively about it. And you wouldn't let me talk about it that way for very long. You would always very kindly and lovingly say, okay, pause. We're going to pause, Collin. We're going to pause.
oh my God, I do say that. You
Take
did
a
that
little
so well.
pause.
Excuse
And
me, I have a cold.
I could actually feel like you know, we talk about like neural pathway interruption or whatever
Oh yeah.
that phenomenon is.
Yeah.
Like I could actually feel it was almost like you know, touching a hot stove or something. Like my system was so familiar. It was so familiar to my brain, the way my brain works, to keep going, that when you would say, okay, pause very gently, it would actually kind of like mentally, I don't know how to describe it, but it was mentally uncomfortable. Even though I knew like, oh, this is what I'm asking Stephanie to do for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
is I need her to do this neural pathway interruption thing where I don't go down the road again. Like this is how we retrain the brain. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
here we are, we're in this thing that I do. This is the thing that keeps good stuff out of my life or delays it. This is
Yeah.
the thing that brings in situations and things I don't want. And but I mean I really remember feeling like when you would say, okay, pause, I would just be like, you know, my brain was partly like, no, I want, like a little kid, like, no, I want to
Yeah.
keep going, I want to
Yeah.
keep getting
Yeah.
negative. Yeah, it
Yeah.
felt jazzy, you know,
Or
whatever.
like, like, wait a minute, you're not letting me finish my thought. Like,
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
something to
yeah. It almost
say, and
felt
this is
like, how dare
important.
you interrupt
Yeah,
the way that I
exactly.
wanted
Yeah.
to present this?
Yeah.
But you know, you would always be so great at either getting, if I was available to it, which I wasn't always, but if I was available to it, how do we start? Let's start talking about this in a positive direction. Or if we can't do that, if you're so honed in on the negative on this particular topic, which happens, let's talk about something else. You know, let's talk about something that went well for you this week. And I mean, that was just like hugely key for me in terms of like starting to practice like thinking in a way where I was allowing good stuff in instead of just like
Yeah. Yeah.
repeatedly.
And that's natural at the beginning to feel that, like, oh, what? And then over time, um, that's why I tell people they're like building blocks. Each week builds on the next. And it takes a little while. And I can always hear now, Usually, and within the second or third month is when I can start to hear the switch in a client's
Mm.
thinking.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing to experience
Yeah.
and witness. And it almost always happens, and it's profound. It's life-changing. It really is. I've seen some pretty magnificent shifts in people when they first come to, like, you like, and then when we're done, and it's like, right on.
The final thing I wanted to say is language is super important. That's where I sort of started this discussion. But what the other thing about that, how that woman presented that I just want to highlight is it's not just how we speak. That's a super important part of it, but it was also her confidence and her belief and her vibration. Because
Yeah.
I remember having this experience once. I don't even remember where I was, but I met this young lady. She's in her early 20s, and it was some sort of social function. I honestly can't recall what it was about, but we were just getting to, like chit chat at a social, where you're never going to see each other again. It's just strangers, but you got to chit chat. And I asked her what she, wanted to do for work or something. I think she was either in school or, interning somewhere or something. And she said she wanted to start her own business. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Good for you. And then she followed that up with this. I'll never forget it. She'll follow this up. She's like, I'm going to be a billionaire. And I just felt like it was such a weird thing because I felt, and I could be wrong. Like, I'm not saying I'm sort of like always correct,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Twitter, but I just felt like it's like I could hear the vibration
yeah, yeah.
more clearly than the words.
Yes.
And the vibration was, there's no fucking way I'm ever going to be a billionaire.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
somehow there was this like resistance and negative lack of,
yeah,
it was like a fighting against a lack of confidence. It was the opposite of what the lady that you talked to.
yeah, yeah.
And I just went like in my brain, I was like, oh, do I mention? And I
Nope.
didn't. I did
Nope.
not.
Yeah, you were a
But
smart
part of
man.
me was like, oh, like that is a little bit of a mind fuck about how, like, because I think a lot of people pick up on how important it is to talk in a
Yeah,
particular way,
yeah.
but that's not the whole puzzle. You need the other piece of like
The
believing in
feeling
it. And
and
if you don't believe in it,
yeah,
talk confidently about something you are confident about genuinely.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
don't talk about that. If you don't believe, if you want to be a billionaire but you don't
yeah.
believe you can be, talk about how
Wouldn't
much you love to go swimming or something like that.
wouldn't it be cool if, like, because how long ago was this?
Probably a couple 2-3 years ago. It was
Oh, okay, it wasn't that
probably
long
just
ago.
pre-COVID,
Okay.
so
Wouldn't
three.
that be cool if she found Abraham and started shifting
Yes,
her
and
vibration, or some other
yeah,
teacher, someone
yeah,
else that she really resonated with,
yeah,
and they helped her like shift her vibration, her
yeah. Because
energy.
she's got an important piece of. I mean, very few people. What I give her points for is very few people on this planet would tell a stranger like, I'm going to be a bit like that. Takes some,
Right?
you know,
Yeah, that's like
some
some,
courage.
yes.
um, but yeah, but I really wish for her to find that other piece of like, that's cool, but if you genuinely want that, you got to find a way to match your vibration to it, or focus on something that you can
Yeah,
just
yeah,
continually,
yeah,
because if
yeah.
you go around telling people that you're definitely going to be a billionaire, and the energy is 100% NFW, that's going to happen.
Yeah, 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 and who knows? She's young, so she's got plenty of time to
100%. I
like
mean,
shift that vibration.
yeah, I'd
Yeah,
much
it's
rather have somebody
extremely courageous.
have the
Go,
courage
girl.
to say something like that,
I know, right?
even without that piece, than
Yeah,
for your whole
yeah,
life to say, "Oh, I'll never make any money.
right. Exactly. No,
Money doesn't grow on trees."
that
Blah, blah.
feels yucky. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is a wrap on season 6, everybody. Thank you again so much. We are
Yes.
always
Yay, all of us.
super, super grateful and humbled by your support for us. We love you so much. We're so happy that you joined us for the final episode of season 6 today. Remember that we are still posting at this time a brand new episode every Monday morning. So, like I said, season 7, episode 1 will be
Woo.
on your platform like clockwork next Monday. We truly appreciate you doing whatever your platform allows you to do to support us. All our social media links and our email address are in the doodly-doo and the YouTube version down below. We wish you a happy, abundant, and chill week ahead. And we look forward to you joining us again on season 7, the next episode of Co-Creation Station. Bye, everybody.
Bye.